Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of A Healthy Dose of Fran. Today I'm doing a brand new Why segment called Why Saving Face is the Best Lesbian Film of All Time. And if you can't tell from that, it is an LGBT themed Why segment today, specifically because it was National Coming Out Day on the Thursday just gone. So I thought, let's do something gay this week. So I've done a blog post that's gay and I'm doing a video that's gay. Just a little context to Saving Face. The film was written and directed by Alice Wu, who I've put the link to her Instagram and Twitter in the description box below. It starred Krusiec, who played the character Will, Lynn Chen, who played the character Vivian, Will's love interest, and Joan Chen, who plays Will's mum, hwei-lan. All of the actresses' Twitter and Instagram details will also be in the description box below if you want to go check them out. So yeah, that's what today's Why segment is, so let's get on with it. And this is why Saving Face is the best lesbian movie of all time. So before we properly get started, I am going to issue a spoiler alert because I will be talking about a few plot related things as well as discussing characters in depth. So I'm going to put like a time to go to so you can get a brief overview of this entire video. So you can go to that now if you don't want too much related to the plot. So I'm just going to get started now, and basically the main reason why I think Saving Face is the best lesbian movie of all time is because not only does it step away from the traditional tropes of lesbian films like infidelity, the coming out sort of stage and the difficulty that comes with it, and you know, the general death that's usually in lesbian films. The characters in this film and kind of the things that are going outside of the lesbian plot are actually interesting. Like, it more often than not in lesbian films, the entire focus is on the fact that they are lesbians, which, yeah, no, that is a good thing. Like, we are getting a lesbian story, but when you look at kind of like heterosexual films, there's not a huge focus on the fact that they are straight. That it's just kind of there, it's just kind of happening. Like, in this film, there is a whole bit of Will hasn't really spoken to her mother much about Vivian, who is the girl that she is with, because she knows that her mother doesn't approve. Because her mother found out a long period ago that she was gay, and the moment that she did, she started setting her up with different men. So there is kind of that aspect in it of a disapproving parent, but it's not done so in a way that a coming out scene or the coming out is a huge part of the story. Like, the disapproving parent does appear in quite a few things, including I Can't Think Straight, which was predominantly due to the religious nature of the parents, mainly with the mothers. The fathers were brilliant in that film, as in they weren't dicks. But with Saving Face, kind of the focus of the film really is the relationship, not just between Will and Vivian, but the relationship between Will and her mother. So the main kind of plot with this film is that Will has been living by herself for a long period of time. She's a medical student, particularly with... is she a student? No, I think she's just a doctor now. No, she may be still a student. I remember now. I think she may be a doctor, but still kind of training, which I guess is kind of every doctor. Every doctor is still training. I'm going to stop because I don't know anything about medical stuff. Basically, she's a doctor, particularly cardio, like a heart doctor. I don't know the proper term for it. And her mother lives with her parents still in Chinatown. I've just realised that I haven't actually brought up the fact that all of these characters are Asian American, and that is quite a big influence within the film. The Asian American community, the Asian traditions and things like that, like a mother living with her parents, particularly after the death of a husband. At least I'm assuming, I'm just kind of guessing that's kind of the bit behind it. Like, it's not discussed too much, so if I am completely wrong, I apologise. Please let me know in the comments below what the reason behind that may have been. But the main point of the story is that her mother has gotten pregnant again in her 50s, unmarried, not in a relationship, and it's a huge dishonour to her parents, to the point that she is banished from their house, because not only will she not get rid of the baby, she won't tell them who the father is. So the mother, hwei-lan, takes it on herself to go and live with her daughter Will without telling Will. which, you know, is pretty typical to anything that a mother may do. And all of this causes disruption in Will's life. She was happily kind of getting to know Vivian. She now can't get to know her as well. She becomes a little bit flimsy, but their relationship is still kind of budding and things like that. But her mother does cause the issues as well as her job. But just in general, the film is kind of more about their relationship than the lesbian story, which I quite like. Like, I like that obviously there is the lesbian story involved in it, but it's not the main focus. Like, it's not the only story element that's going on. Like, lots of things to do with the film are related to Will and Vivian kind of getting to know each other, falling in love, the issue of Will kind of not wanting to be seen with her because she's nervous about being herself and things like that. But there are the other stories going alongside which are just as important as the lesbian story, like hwei-lan, who is the father of the child. What is she going to do? She can't be unmarried and have another child and things like that, so Will is trying to find her a man to marry and find like any respectable bachelor to find an interest in her mother, just so she won't be alone when having the child, because it's completely like it's kind of a bad thing for that to be for that to happen, really. And I kind of like that there are these stories that are all connected, all have the same importance. Like, it's kind of like the lesbian story, although it is the focus, it's kind of like the B story as well. Like, well, all the stories are both the A and B plots. And if no one knows what that means, I'm trying to think of how to describe it now. So basically, an A plot is the main focus of the film, and the B plot is kind of like the subplot. I'm trying to think of an example. I can't think of a good example. Think of like the Harry Potter films. That, like, Prisoner of Azkaban. The whole A plot is to do with Sirius Black is out from prison and he's coming after Harry. The B plot to it is like the time turner things, that I'm trying to figure out what's going on. But those kind of interlinked as well. I'm not giving a good example. Try and look it up. There'll be someone that explains it a lot better than I am right now. But it's just really interesting that there is a lesbian film that doesn't just over-sexualise the lesbians, first of all. That doesn't happen at all in this. Doesn't make it the main focus in that, oh look, lesbians. Everything's about lesbians. That's just like although, you know, that is good in some ways, but it just kind of makes it stand out so much more. Like, look at Love, Simon this year. Like, the whole thing was about his coming out, but it was also about him being like a normal teenager with friends, but also having this struggle. And there isn't a lot of that in lesbian films. More often than not, the lesbian aspect is the main focus. There is no other story. As well as the fact that obviously there is the over-sexualization, the death, the cheating. There are so many good gay films that are all about infidelity. Like Disobedience, that came out this year. Good film, infidelity. Imagine Me and You. Good film, infidelity. I Can't Think Straight. Okay film, infidelity. Like, there's no non-infidelity good films more often than not. And it is just kind of an unfortunate thing, but I think that's why Saving Face stood out to me as being an amazing film, because there's nothing you can't not like about this film. Like, Imagine Me and You used to be my all-time favourite lesbian film, but I could never kind of feel comfortable with the infidelity aspect, just because it's not right. You shouldn't cheat. That's kind of a huge thing in relationships. You don't cheat, but they kind of make it seem like cheating is okay, which it's not. Don't cheat. But in Saving Face, there is kind of no bad trope that's going on in the film. Like, there is the part of the mother kind of throwing back into Will's face. Like, Will tells her she's gay at one point after realising that she's going to lose Vivian. And her mum, like, I love you. Her words are, I love you, mum, and I'm gay. And her mum responds with, how can you say something like that and then throw it back in my face, like acting like she's done the worst thing possible? And obviously that is a shitty thing, but she kind of learned. It's kind of like that sort of process of like that, like me and my dad, like he wasn't okay with it straight away, but we moved on from it and we're now fine. And that's kind of what happens in this film as well. And it's kind of like a normal life sort of thing. Like obviously there is the huge dramatic parts, like the old woman getting pregnant, which then turns out with a younger man as well. But like those things happen in real life. Like the kind of the whole thing with it is that this is real life. It's told in a way that doesn't hypersexualize, doesn't focus completely on it, shows that there are other normal things going on in life, and that it's not all wrapped up in just this one lesbian story. And the characters are so realistic as well. Like Will is the definition of a useless lesbian. Like she has the whole gay panic, like in this falling scene that they have. If I get a clip, I'm going to show it here.
Okay, fall. Sorry, I can't do this.
If it didn't pop up, that means I didn't do it, or I couldn't find it. But there's this, the scene is kind of like her basically panicking, like, oh my god, this girl is so pretty, she's moving closer, panic. And that is pretty much just nearly all lesbians, or at least especially me. I am like the definition of a useless lesbian. Like I'm terrible with women. I can't speak to women. Like I'm okay every now and again, but then I will have that moment and it'll just go tits up. And I kind of like that. Like Will is just useless and it's brilliant. And she does have moments of being amazing. And her and Vivian are great together. But what is interesting is that she knows at one point when kind of they do split up, because Will is still anxious of being seen with a woman in public, which Vivian isn't anxious about that, and she can't be with someone who is like in a way sort of embarrassed to be seen with her. Like it's not embarrassment completely, but it's kind of what it felt like to Vivian. Like Will felt she couldn't even hold her hand in public because of what could happen. But we then see this growth that happens where she realises that she's lost this woman that she loves because she couldn't accept herself properly. And we kind of get like this happy ending at the end, which again, this is why this is one of my favourites, because it's actually got a happy ending. Do you know how rare that is? You guys probably know how rare this is if any of you are lesbians or bisexual women. Even gay men, there aren't many happy endings in gay male films. Gay films have no happy endings really. We have like 10. And that's why I love this, because not only do we see Will's growth with the panic and the kind of anxiety about being herself and being seen with Vivian, but at the end we see her grow past that, both with the help of her mother, who has accepted the fact that she is having a child with a younger man, and she's happy. She doesn't care what anyone thinks, and she's happy, which then helps Will to learn to love herself and be happy to show that love that she has for Vivian in public. And the film ends with the two of them dancing at this traditional dance that they have in, I think Chinatown is where they have it, where all the Asian community get together for a big get-together party dance sort of thing. And the two of them dance together. And though people leave, both Will and Vivian don't care because they're together. I think that's kind of the thing that you don't see much of in lesbian films. You don't see any character growth, and from like a film perspective you do need that. Like not necessarily as an audience member, like you can kind of be okay with that not being a thing, but in real life you grow and you learn to love yourself, you learn to love other people, you learn to kind of be a newer version of yourself that is better than the one before. And I think that's what kind of makes this even better than anything else I've ever seen. Like, I've watched this film, I can't even think of a number, like at least 10 times a year, if not more. I've been watching it for 3-4 years now. And it's just generally just an amazing film. And just going off the characters, so Will is useless lesbian. Vivian is the gay dancing queen, so she's a dancer. We don't see her dance, mainly because Lynn Chen couldn't dance. I'm actually going to link a video to the Drunk Lesbians channel where they watch Saving Face with the two actresses, because it's hilarious, and you learn a little bit of the behind the scenes action with it as well. And generally it's brilliant. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, yes, there are the aspects of I don't know where I was going with that. There are things in the film as well where, this is just what kind of interested me the most from a film perspective. We have the talking in Mandarin, because obviously it's an Asian American community. Lots of them do speak Mandarin, and we do see it in the film. Like, there's no shying away from it. There is heritage in this film. There is the exploration of tradition in this film. And I think that's kind of what adds more to the depth of it. Like, it's real. It's interesting, it's dramatic, it's thrilling, it's just generally an amazing film. And there is so much female empowerment just in general in this film, of learning to love yourself, loving what you're doing. Like, the whole message is basically learn to love yourself, and gays are cool. But this is kind of the reason why, to me, Saving Face is the best lesbian movie. And this will be the time where I kind of say people can come back to watch it now. So for those of you tuning back in because you don't want to see the spoilers, Saving Face is the best lesbian movie of all time. It's got the best character growth. It's got the best story. It's got the most interesting... I was going to say characters again, but I think I've already said it. Like, I kind of can't comprehend how good this film is. Like, we have the realistic lesbian characters. We have the interesting female characters, we've got growth, we've got an interesting story, we've got brilliant cinematography just in general, considering that the budget was so low because they didn't have enough for it. And also, Will Smith and his production company helped make the project as well, which if that doesn't sway you, you stupid. Please come back, because I'm sorry for calling you stupid, but you need to watch this film. And I'm kind of going to stop because I'm going to keep rambling about this, because this film is just, it's worth everything. It's worth 10 times what Imagine Me and You was. Not just because of the fact that there is no infidelity in this film, but because it is so much more than just a lesbian film. It's a film about family, it's a film about loving yourself, a film about learning to love. And you guys should go see it. You should support it. You should go support the actresses, both of which, for Lynn Chen and Michelle Krusiec, are making their own films. They're both making their directorial debuts. And I will link you to Miss Lynn Chen's Instagram for her film. And I don't know the information for Michelle's film, but if I can find it, it'll be in the description box below. I want to give a shout out to both of them if they do see this video, because I know that Lynn Chen has gotten a lot of notifications from me, because I'm a big fan of her, a big fan of her work, the fact that she is financing her own project. So big love to both of you for this film, and big love to Alice Wu for making this film as well. I'm going to stop blabbering you all with information, and I will say thank you so much for watching this video. If you're not already subscribed, go to the description box, go to the button down below, or the one that will be popping up here on screen. If you want to follow my blog or Instagram, the link's in the description box below. If you want to watch any of my previous videos, suggestions will be popping up here. I'm going to go watch Saving Face again, and I'll see you guys next time.